In the heart of Eden, an environment of beauty and harmony, the story of Eve begins to unfold. Created in a world where everything was perfect, she inhabited a garden full of fruit trees and lush flowers, surrounded by the calming presence of Adam, who shared with her the mission of caring for creation. However, Eve's origin and her relationship with Adam have always been shrouded in mystery and speculation. Popular tradition claims that she was molded from the man's rib, but the Hebrew scriptures offer a richer and more complex view. Eve, with her curiosity and desire for knowledge, begins to question her identity and the role she plays in this world. Insecurity and the search for meaning permeate her emotions, while her relationship with Adam becomes a central aspect of her existence. What does it really mean to be the companion of man? As the days pass, the anticipation of discovering her true essence grows, leading to a dilemma that could not only change her destiny, but also that of all humanity. Eve walked through the garden, her fingers gently brushing against the green leaves surrounding her. The aroma of the flowers enveloped her in a sweet and welcoming embrace. But despite the beauty around her, a restlessness began to settle in her heart. What lies beyond this garden? She wondered, watching the sunlight reflect on the waters of the stream. She paused, looking at Adam, who was sitting on a nearby stone, carving something with a piece of wood. Adam, have you ever wondered if there is more for us than taking care of this place? Her voice was soft, but carried a deep doubt. Adam looked up, surprised. More? What could there be beyond Eden? Here we have everything we need. He smiled, but Eve could sense a shadow of uncertainty in his gaze. And what if our purpose goes beyond this? What if there is knowledge we can attain? The question hung in the air, and Adam hesitated, as if his own beliefs were being challenged. In the days that followed, Eve began to explore further than usual. Along the way, she encountered a magnificent tree, its fruits shining with a vibrant color. It was the tree of knowledge of good and evil, a sight that irresistibly drew her in. Curiosity consumed her. Why can't we touch it? She questioned, feeling a mix of fascination and fear. Meanwhile, Adam continued to tend to the garden, oblivious to the whirlwind of thoughts that plagued her. Adam, don't you feel there is something more to discover? What is stopping us from knowing everything? Eve asked one morning, as the birds sang around them. Don't know, Eve. Maybe it's better this way. What we know is enough for us. His answer, though sincere, left Eve even more confused. She felt that life in Eden was becoming a gilded cage. At night, as the stars shone brightly above them, Eve couldn't find rest. I am more than just Adam's companion, she reflected in silence. What if what is hidden is the key to my true identity? The dilemma grew inside her, and the idea that something was missing only intensified her longing for freedom and knowledge. As Eve struggled with her emotions, the narrator observed the scene from afar. The harmony of Eden began to be overshadowed by a restlessness that was reflected in the interactions between the two. Conversations that were once simple were now laden with hidden meanings and emerging anxieties. The garden, although beautiful, became the setting for an internal quest that could change the course of history. Eve couldn't shake the feeling that she was on the brink of a revelation. Each day spent in Eden served as a constant reminder of her dissatisfaction. The garden, which once filled her with joy, now seemed like a delicate cage, adorned with flowers and fruits, but still a prison. Adam's words echoed in her mind. What we know is enough for us. That certainty, while comforting, began to sound like a sentence. As she walked alone, her gaze fixed on the tree of knowledge. The shine of the fruits hypnotized her, and the idea of touching them became an obsession. What if knowledge is true freedom? What if I can be more than I am, she thought, feeling a mix of fear and excitement. Each step toward the tree made her heart race, and the tension between her and Adam grew. What would happen if she made that decision? What would Adam say? Adam, on the other hand, felt the change in the atmosphere. Eve's restlessness affected him, awakening a concern he didn't know how to handle. "She is drifting away from me," he thought, as he watched her from afar, his heart heavy with the possibility that their lives were diverging. He wanted to maintain the status quo, but Eve's growing ambition made him feel that he was also being pulled out of his comfort zone. At night, as Eve lay under the starry sky, her mind revolved around the dilemma. Would it be selfish to want more? Or is it my right as a human being to seek what has been denied to me? The internal struggle consumed her, and the thought that her choices could have irreversible consequences terrified her. She looked at the moon, reflecting on the duality of her existence, the beauty of Eden balanced by the growing restlessness within her. The narrator, observing the scene, noted that the harmony of Eden was becoming increasingly fragile. The tension was not only in the interactions between Eve and Adam, but also in the external forces surrounding them. The garden itself, once a sanctuary of peace, now seemed to vibrate with a new and restless energy, as if the universe were aware that something was about to change. The choices of Eve and Adam, a dance between desire and fear, were becoming a storm about to break, and their fate depended on the courage to face the unknown. Eve felt a growing pressure in her chest, as if the air around her was becoming denser. Each day, the tree of knowledge called to her, a siren in a sea of calm. What if I fail? What if I lose everything? She thought. The questions tormented her as she tried to find solace in Adam's presence. But he seemed distant, lost in his own anxieties. The connection that once bound them so strongly was now a tenuous thread, ready to snap. Deep down, Eve struggled with the idea that knowledge could bring her to light, but it could also lead her into darkness. What if I become something I can't control? She questioned herself. Doubt consumed her, and, at the same time, provoked her. When she looked at Adam, she saw not only love, but an anchor that kept her tied to what she knew. However, the anchor also prevented her from exploring the vast ocean of possibilities that lay before her. The narrator observed the two, aware that each moment of hesitation was like a drop that, cumulatively, could overflow the cup of patience. Adam, noticing Eve's distant gaze, felt a chill run down his spine. He didn't know how to reach her, how he could offer comfort when his own insecurity grew. If she drifts away, what will be left of us? He thought, as the shadow of the tree of knowledge loomed over them like a grim warning. The tension between them increased, and the decisions they made, even the simplest ones, became complex. Eve began to question whether she should share her thoughts with Adam. What if he doesn't understand? What if he rejects me for wanting something more? She pondered. On the other hand, Adam found himself at a crossroads. Should he confront her about her unrest, or simply wait for her to come back to him? It was a cycle of uncertainties, where each choice seemed to lead to new complications. The Eden, once a paradise, began to transform into a labyrinth of conflicting feelings, and Eve, in her quest for freedom, felt she was about to tread a path that could change their lives forever. The tree of knowledge loomed over them, like a promise and a curse, and the climax of their decisions was near, waiting to be revealed. Eve finally made her decision. The weight in her chest had become unbearable, and the tree of knowledge watched her, as if it were waiting. With courage, she turned to Adam, the afternoon light filtering through the leaves, casting dancing shadows around her. She knew she needed to speak, to expose her deepest truths. Adam, who listened with a mix of fear and confusion, felt his heart race. Eve, please don't tell me you want to go to it. What would that mean for us? He couldn't hide the anguish in his voice. The idea that the woman he loved could get lost in this abyss of knowledge terrified him. Eve took a deep breath, each word a sharp blade. It's not that I want to distance myself from you, but I feel I need to know what lies beyond what we know. What if what I discover changes me? What if I become someone I can no longer love? The narrator watched the scene, the tension in the air almost palpable. The tree, like a silent spectator, was about to witness Eve's choice. Adam, with tears in his eyes, stepped forward. "You can be whoever you want, but I don't want to lose you. This knowledge, it can be a blessing, but also a curse. Are you really willing to risk all of this?" Eve felt emotions colliding within her. The struggle between curiosity and love consumed her. "I don't know if I can stay, Adam, but if I leave, it's for me, to discover what I'm truly capable of." Tears streamed down her face, and she found herself torn between the desire to explore and the fear of losing. The silence that followed was heavy, filled with unspoken promises and imminent farewells. The tree of knowledge, imposing and seductive, awaited her decision, and the climax of that choice was becoming irrevocable. Adam finally spoke, his voice a barely audible whisper. "Then go, but know that I will be here, waiting, and if you get lost, I will be searching for you." The words hung in the air, like a promise that, even in uncertainty, love still had the power to unite or separate hearts. Eve hesitated for a moment, her heart racing unevenly, but determination took hold of her. With one last look at Adam, she headed toward the tree, each step carrying the weight of her decisions. As she touched the trunk of the tree, she felt a wave of energy course through her body, as if all the knowledge in the world was at her disposal. Adam stood still, watching Eve's figure fade away, the afternoon light now overshadowed by the tree's shadow. His heart broke into 1,000 pieces, but he knew he couldn't prevent her quest for truth. He remembered the words echoing in his mind, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." He knew that this freedom could come at a cost he could not measure. As Eve delved deeper into the experience, she saw visions of realities and possibilities, each more complex than the last. But the beauty and pain of knowledge soon became a burden. She realized that the pursuit of truth was not just about knowing, but also about the consequences of choice. At that moment, understanding hit her. Knowledge could be a blessing, but it could also be a curse. She remembered the words Adam had said to her, and a feeling of sadness and love enveloped her. "What am I now?" he thought. "And what if what I discover pulls me away from who I really am?" Meanwhile, Adam reflected on his own vulnerability. He realized that true strength lies in accepting the unknown and having the courage to love despite fear. Love is not just based on physical closeness, but also on the willingness to let the other follow their own path, even if that means separation. The narrator observed the scene with a contemplative gaze, understanding that Eve's journey, while filled with uncertainties, was also an essential step for growth. The tree of knowledge remained silent, symbolizing that knowledge must be sought with wisdom and responsibility. In the end, the story of Eve and Adam teaches us that knowledge is powerful, but love and understanding are the true anchors that keep us steady in times of transformation. Divine justice lies in the opportunity to learn from our choices, to grow through our experiences, and, above all, to love unconditionally, even in the face of uncertainty.